Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Mr. Sean, and thank you so much for still being here with me after I took the last half of June off after our 100th episode of Lesser Known Lost Media. I needed time to recenter and figure out where the channel was going to go, especially with how we were losing subscribership left and right and views were way down. So a little bit of an update. The way things are going to go is that, we're down to 2 videos a week. Now don't worry, if you're here for the Lost Media on Fridays, that's not going anywhere. Lesser Known Lost Media version 2, whatever, we're still kind of workshopping the name, series 2 of Lesser Known Lost Media is still going to be a thing. But my Monday or Wednesday video, I haven't entirely decided which one it's going to end up staying on, is going to be a little bit different, a little bit more on the thought-provoking side, like today's video. Content is going to be less freeform, it's going to be more scripted, so, that's where we're going with the channel. I'm also working all the time on new miniatures, new Call of Cthulhu modules. I may even be going into the D&D module aspect. I'm going to look into that. But anyway, something that happened a few weekends ago got me thinking. So I've been working very hard. In fact, the only reason I'm recording this now is that I got what I needed to done, which was we needed to clean up the workshop where I record these so that we had room to put out an air mattress for my wife's sister who's coming to visit next weekend. Now, in the past, when she has come, she has stayed on the couch. However, Mr. Sprinkle, the Sprinkadink, the Sprinkly Dinkly Doo, is a very light sleeper and gets very upset when people, disrupt his sleep schedule. And if she's on the couch, which is in the living room where his cage is, if she likes to stay up, she wants to watch TikTok, watch TV, play video games, what have you, that's going to keep him up and that's not good for him. So we decided to make our spare room, which is our workshop area for me and my wife, we decided to make that an area that we could put out an air mattress for her when she comes up to visit. And that's all to say why this situation I'm about to tell you happened. So, I'm working away and I'm getting everything clean, and it's a monumental Herculean task because we have not kept the workshop area in a hospitable condition for quite some time. And while I'm in the middle of this, my wife comes up to me and says, "Hey, my prescription's in at CVS. You want to come with me to go get it?" Now, no, I did not. The CVS is just like 2 miles down the road. She could go there, get it, be back in no time. But again, my wife has anxiety, and so the idea of going places by herself is sometimes a Herculean task for her. But at the same time, I had something I had to get done, and I told her, no, I don't want to go. And she didn't really accept that no. She said, hey, she kind of lingered and looked at me and pouted a little bit until I inevitably agreed to go, not because I wanted to go, but because I just didn't want there to be a fight. And now that's all well and good. When we went out, she decided to get me some food because she said I needed to eat lunch and all that, and that was, I guess, her way of making up for the fact that she didn't accept my no. And the thing is that, like any sitcom-style married couple, I am usually in the mood way more than my wife is. And, later that night when I was in the mood and she said no, I respected that no, but I made the joke, oh, well, we've determined that in order for one of us to ignore the other one's no, we just have to buy them some food. And it was a joke. It was not meant to be taken seriously. Of course, she says no, and I accept it. But that got me thinking. So here's the thing. We all, or at least most of us, accept that when someone says no, in the context of sex, romance, or physical intimacy, that's it. Game over. No negotiations, no coercion, no pushing. And that's a good thing. That's how it should be. And we've had enough conversations, movements, and, yes, hard lessons to get that burned into our collective cultural memory. But here's my question. Why is no so sacred in one context and treated like a starting point in others? Because when it's about favors, emotions, social obligations, family pressure, or just needing space, suddenly no becomes negotiable. Or worse, selfish, rude, or inconsiderate. And I think that needs to change. Let's start with something simple. Have you ever told someone, no, I'm not going out tonight. No, I'm not drinking. No, I can't help with that right now. And they don't just say, okay. Instead, they hit you with, "Oh, come on, just one drink. You'll feel better once you're there. Don't be that person." And now suddenly you're sitting in a booth at Applebee's at 10:47 p.m. holding a sangria you didn't want, wondering how your life spiraled this far from pajamas and silence. That right there, that's a boundary violation, and we don't talk about those enough. Not all boundary pushing is malicious. Most people don't even realize they're doing it, but that doesn't make it harmless. See, we think we're good at recognizing boundaries, but mostly we just recognize obvious ones. If someone yells, "Get off me," we get it. If someone pushes a drink away or physically recoils, that's clear. But what about the soft no? What about, "I'm just not comfortable with that. I'm kind of overwhelmed right now. I'd rather not talk about this. I really need some time to myself tonight." These are still boundaries. They might not come with flashing lights and a foghorn, but they are still saying, "Please respect my limit." If we're going to say no means no, then it has to mean all versions of no. Even the ones wrapped in politeness, even the ones that sound hesitant, even the ones we don't like hearing. Let's talk about the ultimate form of boundary erosion: guilt. Guilt is like the passive-aggressive Swiss Army knife of manipulation. It's not technically forcing anyone to do anything, but it sure makes them feel like they don't have a choice. Some examples include, "I guess I'll just go alone. Like always. It's fine. I'll just struggle through it. Wow, I'd drop everything for you, but okay. You're really gonna let me down like this?" Cue the violins, right? This stuff works because we care, because we don't want to hurt feelings. But respecting someone's boundaries shouldn't mean hurting yours. Kindness doesn't mean surrender. You can be compassionate without being coerced. Let me throw this out there. Not wanting to hang out is a legitimate reason not to hang out. It's not antisocial. It's not rude. It's not dramatic. Sometimes people are just low on social fuel, or overstimulated, or exhausted, or introverted, and saying no to plans without a 3-paragraph explanation or doctor's note should be respected. You don't need to say, "I have a migraine," "My dog's upset," "Mercury's in retrograde." You can just say, "No, I'm staying in," and that should be the end of it. You don't owe people access to you, even if they're friends, even if they're family, even if they Venmo'd you for coffee once in 2016. Ah yes, family, where the word no is sometimes treated like a personal attack. You know the script. Why don't you ever call? You're too good for your own family now? It's just a joke, lighten up. I raised you, and this is the thanks I get? Family dynamics can be the hardest place to set boundaries because they expect you to fold. But your peace matters. You're allowed to say, "No, I don't want to talk about politics. No, I'm not attending that dinner. No, I'm not comfortable leaving my kids there." Family doesn't get a pass to disregard your limits just because they share DNA with you. If anything, they should model better respect. Let's not forget the workplace. Now, I'm not talking about bare minimum responsibility. I'm talking about bosses and coworkers who treat your time like an open buffet. You clock out and they hit you with, "Quick favor? Can you just hop on a call? I know it's your day off, but..." No. If you're off the clock, that's a boundary. If you decline optional work, that's a boundary. If you say, "I don't check emails on Sundays," you are not the villain in a workplace drama. Burnout doesn't arrive with a warning. It shows up after too many small yeses you didn't want to give. Now, this part is important. We're not always the victim. Sometimes we're the ones pushing past someone else's no. Let's be honest. How often have you said things like, "You'd have more fun if you just came out. I'm just trying to help. Don't be like that. Seriously? You're upset over that?" We've all been guilty of overstepping, even with good intentions. But part of being a decent human being is learning how to course correct when we realize we're doing it. Ask yourself, am I respecting this person's limit, or am I trying to change their mind? Am I being supportive, or am I being pushy? Would I want someone doing this to me? So, how do we respect boundaries, especially when someone's no feels personal or frustrating? Here's a few simple things that go a long way. 1. Accept without argument. Just say, okay, I respect that. Full stop. 2. Don't ask why if it's not your business. You're not owed a reason. No is a complete sentence. 3. Offer support, not persuasion. I'll be here if you change your mind, not, I bet I can talk you into it. Practice empathy. Just because you wouldn't say no in that situation doesn't mean they're wrong too. And number 5, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Before you say, come on, ask yourself if you'd want someone doing the same to you. So yeah, this whole video, it's not just about one situation. It's not just about one relationship dynamic. It's about a mindset. No doesn't need context to be valid. It doesn't need to come from trauma to be respected. It doesn't need to be shouted to be heard. Whether it's a stranger, a spouse, a friend, or a family member, whether it's about a CVS run, a phone call, a dinner invite, a joke, or something deeply personal. All boundaries are created equal, and if we want ours respected, we've got to start respecting theirs. If this hit home for you, like, at all, give it a like, share it with someone, or drop a comment with the time your no got ignored. Let's be honest, let's be kind, let's start holding that line. And if you ever need permission to stay home, say no, or ignore a CVS strip, consider it granted. I'm Mr. Sean. This is Mr. Sean Productions, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye.